All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Why Choose Youth Entrepreneurship. Today, the goal is to explore what youth entrepreneurship can do for you and your program. Um, our intent as we kind of go through this space is to introduce you to some of the resources that Florida After School has available to each of you, but then to explore a different way of how we hope to share these resources with you to better influence the types of programming that you're offering at the local level. So we will talk a little bit about what is entrepreneurship, why we should care about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk a little bit about the mindset, because that's really what we as a network are trying to do, is to influence the entrepreneurial mindset of our children and youth so that they are better prepared for college or career, whatever they choose to do in their post-secondary lives. We'll go over some of the resources that we have available to you, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how you can leverage Florida After School to help influence your programming. And we're going to talk a little bit about establishing a professional learning community so that we can really engage each of you where you're at in your journey towards implementing YE, but also kind of figuring out ways that we can help you and ways that you can help us. So we'll go through all of that as well. But to get started, I do want to invite each of you to introduce yourself and let us know your name, the organization, your role at your organization. And then I want to challenge you to think of something that you've used in the last 24 hours that was not around 20 years ago. So I'm going to kind of leave this up on the screen, but I'm going to introduce myself, and then we'll play a little popcorn game where we're passing the ball to one another. But I really want to challenge you to think of something that you've used in the last 24 hours that was not around 20 years ago. So I will start. My name is Holly McPhail. I am a consultant with Florida After School, primarily in charge of communications and strategy development. You may recognize my name because I'm the one who sends the weekly newsletter. So your emails are the emails that you get are consistently coming from my email address, but I definitely recognize some of my colleagues here in our room that will introduce themselves in a few moments. I have been tasked with kind of helping continue our youth entrepreneurship work that we began a couple of years ago. So through funding that we received from the Mott Foundation, we were really excited to grow youth entrepreneurship. And over the course of the past 2 years, I guess 2.5 years now, we've held a series of webinars where we have invited different curriculum providers to do 1-hour introductions to their resources and allow you to explore them. We've done a host of workshops at various different conferences, including Prime Time. It's nice to see Camilla here. And then also we were able to do a very in-depth pilot in one of our partner communities over in Jacksonville, using one of our curricula partner providers, where we trained several after-school program leaders, and then actually held a semester-long session, if you will, where they were meeting 2 to 3 times a week for a period of 3 months. And then we hosted a regional pitch competition, which was really exciting. But of course, as you guys know, when we first started this work, we were on the tail end of COVID. So there's been a couple of challenges that we have perceived, but through the advent of technology such as Zoom, we were able to continue and do a lot more. So it was very exciting to grow youth entrepreneurship in these various different ways. And now we're ready to kind of take it to the next level and really meet programs where they're at. So that's who I am. That's my role here. When you introduce yourself, do not feel that you need to go into that depth of your role, but you definitely have an opportunity to talk a little bit about why you're here. And something that I used in the last 24 hours that was not around 20 years ago was actually an app on my phone called Park Mobile. So last night, my friends and I, we all went to a book club, and it was at a fancy restaurant, and they did not have free parking. You had to pay for it. And so Park Mobile was the app on my phone that I was able to think I was only going to stay for 90 minutes. Oh no, I definitely stayed longer. And instead of rushing out in the middle of our dinner, I was able to, on my app, click extend for another hour and pay all right there. Didn't have to fight with gates and all of that. I was just able to go up and scan and you're free to go. So that was something that I've used in the last 24 hours that was not around. So with that, I want to invite you to come off mute, go through this, and then after you introduce yourself, pass it to somebody who has not yet introduced themselves. So I will start, and because Camilla, I know you're listening and I know how to pronounce your name, I'm going to invite you to go next.
All righty. Thank you, Holly. Appreciate that. So my name is Camilla Hodge. I work at Primetime Palm Beach County. I am the middle school teen professional development specialist, very long title. And what I do is that I train practitioners, dealing specifically with middle school teens. I also facilitate our teen advisory council, where we are instilling skills like entrepreneurship, leadership, all that good stuff with our youth. And something that I used, and I actually had to look this up, but one of my favorite things, my on cloud running sneakers were not available. The company started in 2010, and these sneakers are like the bomb.com if you've never tried them, on cloud. And that's what I used in the last 24 hours. That was not available 20 years ago.
I love it. Mia, do you want to pass it? Yep, there you go.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm gonna pass it to Mackenzie.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mackenzie Coker. I am a program specialist with Florida After School. So I do a lot of program support and however the programs need. It's a lot of helping with professional development, and I do a lot of data organization for Florida After School, and we are working on, projects all the time. So right now we're doing like state of after school, and that's a big part of what I'm doing right now. And then something I used that I don't think was around 20 years ago was my Kindle. I use my Kindle a lot, and I really feel like there's no way that was around 20 years ago. Okay, I'm going to pass to, let's go Kayla, because I can see her.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm also with Florida After School. I'm an executive assistant, so I help with administrative and like supportive duties for like kind of all of our team members. I also help with like random projects here and there. Something I used the past 24 hours. I use my Apple Watch. I use it all the time for like my steps and whatnot. It's just super helpful, especially with like my whole Apple ecosystem that I have going on. So I will pass it to Shelby.
Hi, can you guys see me? Okay, so I am the newest member of Florida After School. I'm a STEM specialist. So I'm gonna say Netflix is the most recent thing that I've used in the last 24 hours. That was not here around 20 years ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Netflix, and then I'm gonna pass it on to Miss Stephanie Lawrence because I can see her.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Lawrence. I'm the Director of Club Services for the Boys and Girls Club of Citrus County. I do everything, programming, professional development, you name it. And something I used in the last 24 hours, my Bluetooth radio maybe. And I will pass it to Kathy.
Hi, Miss Kathy. Are you able to unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kathy. I'm not a specialist or anything like y'all, but I am an owner and a director and everything else that you want to say that I am. I really don't do the after schools, but I are involved with other providers that do after school, and we collaborate on some things. What wasn't around my time is the cell phones and the computers, which I'm not good at, but I'm trying to. And that was the last thing that I used in 24 hours, 20 years.
I love it. Miss
And the
Kathy, where are you from?
I'm from Florida, and the name of my organization is TCB, Taking Care of Babies.
Okay, and where in the state are you?
Florida, West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach, got it.
Mhm.
And do you want to pass it to somebody?
I will pass it on to, what, how you say that? Fernanda? Fad?
Fadrina Sutton.
Yes.
I love it. Fadrina, hi, welcome.
Hi, how are you today?
It's nice to see or hear you.
Yes, sorry, I'm not quite at my computer.
That's
So I'm Fadrina Sutton. I'm the executive director for Ladies Learning to Lead, or L3. And something that I've used in the last 24 hours that wasn't around 20 years ago. I don't know, everything. Maybe I just booked a flight on Hopper. I don't think Hopper
There you
was
go.
around 20 years ago.
the Hopper app. It was not. And Miss Fadrina, you said Ladies Learning to Lead. I happen to know that your head office is in Tallahassee, but do you guys have, where else do you serve?
Yeah, so we have staff teams in Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale.
I love it. And if you want to pass the mic to someone,
I can pass the mic to, has Liz Nuskin already gone?
he has not.
Not yet.
All right, well.
Hi,
it's up
everybody.
to you.
Oh, Liz, what happened?
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. And there you are. Perfect.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry. I am on the road. I'm in a travel plaza, zooming on my phone, which apparently I have no idea how to do. So hi, everybody. I am working with Young Entrepreneur Institute, and I support Florida After School Network and other statewide after school networks around the country who were facilitating entrepreneur education. And I've also done the work with the Ohio After School Network here in Ohio. So great to learn about what's going on in Florida. I thought of a lot of things since you first asked the question, Holly, but one of the things that hasn't been mentioned yet is a expense tracking app. So I'm not sure exactly who hasn't gone yet. Is there an Elizabeth who didn't go yet? I'm also an Elizabeth, so Elizabeth, I'm calling on you.
All right, Miss Kaysen.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me now. I was having difficulty with my laptop.
You're coming through loud and clear.
Perfect. So I'm Elizabeth Kaysen. I'm with the Children's Trust of Alachua County. I would say Teams was something that I just used within the 24 hours, and I'm still learning to use it. It's similar to Zoom. And I'm happy to be joining you guys today.
Awesome. Do you want to
Anybody
pass
else
it
to
to
pass it?
someone? Yeah.
Have we called Adriana?
Fadrina's already gone.
Okay. How about Delmas?
All right, Miss Dee Dee, are you able to unmute?
Hi, my name is Dee Dee Harper. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. So I have I serve as I own a real estate company and mortgage company, but I also was just recently funded with the city of Jacksonville for a career exploration program for teens. So we have an after school program with Poise Incorporated. Something that I have not used that wasn't around 20 years ago is the stylus for my phone.
Oh, fancy. A tool for your phone. I love it.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Of course. Miss Dee Dee, do you want to pass the mic to one of the other attendees? about Celia? I didn't pronounce that right, did I? Miss Nelson?
Actually, that was perfect.
Yay, okay, great.
Hi, I'm Celia Nelson. I am the CEO of Urgent Inc. We are a creative youth development nonprofit based in Miami, Florida. And I use ChatGPT, which I think is pretty new.
That is very, very neat and open source, and I love that it's free. You want to pass it to someone who has not gone yet?
Has Lily gone?
I was gonna say it may just be Lily.
I have
Or
not.
Shelby? I'm not sure.
So hi everyone, I'm Lily. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm the executive director here at Florida After School. It's great to be with you all today. And something that I used in the last 24 hours that wasn't around 20 years ago are my Apple AirPods. Kayla, I think, said it best, and she was like, it goes so well with her Apple ecosystem. I'm in the same boat with my Apple ecosystem. And so I actually just took the AirPods off from one call, jumping on this one. So I'm glad to be here with you all today.
Awesome. Thank you guys. And thank you to everyone who has introduced themselves. Really appreciate and glad that you are here. And it probably goes without saying that one of the reasons why I wanted you to think through about something that you've used in the last 24 hours was because we know that looking at our economy and looking at the products that are being developed, and not just products, but also services, that many of the jobs that we're considering that will happen next year, like in the next 20 years, like about 50% of them, per the research, are not currently in existence today. And so even just thinking through some of the things that you guys have identified, whether it was a mobile app, shoe, right, like the shoes, I have to, like the running shoes, an excellent product, forms of entertainment, tools that you can use to help increase your efficiencies. In each of those that you've identified here today, that was something that didn't exist. And while some of the jobs that are involved with creating them, they look a lot different. When students would go to college for engineering back 20 years ago, many of the things that they're learning today in, say, software engineering or computer engineering looks very different from what it looked like 20 years ago and from what it's going to look like in 20 years. So I just wanted to kind of get you to start thinking through some of the problem-solving mindsets that are integral to entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship education. So I want to start with the kind of just textbook definition from Merriam-Webster. What is an entrepreneur? Oops, I think I went too fast. Sorry. There we go. So it's a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risks to do so in hope of profit. And I really like unpacking this definition of what is an entrepreneur, because there's certain things that I notice immediately is, number one, there's no age limit on who an entrepreneur is. It could be anyone, including some of our youngest students that are in your programs. It's not a college student or a business in the future or some type of activity like that. An entrepreneur is just a person who organizes and operates a business. In fact, over the past 2.5 years, we have had the opportunity to see several young entrepreneurs right here in the state of Florida, whether they were in 5th grade or 15, they were developing businesses that were fully operational and doing excellent pitch competitions and securing funding from local business partners. And so the first thing I notice when thinking of what is that definition is that it's a person and that there is no age limit. The second thing that pops out to me when looking at this definition is this idea of taking on risk. And one of the pieces of entrepreneurship that we will see thread throughout any curriculum that you pick up is this idea of being willing to take risks. We sometimes, through some of our trainings that we have done in the past, ask a young person, or a teacher? Do they want the stability of kind of a 9 to 5, I'm gonna say a regular job or a more typical job versus something that is maybe a little outside of that norm? Are you willing to take some of those risks? I joke around and say it's like jumping out of an airplane, knowing that you have all the tools that you need strapped to your back, but you have to know how to deploy that chute. Is that something that you're willing to do? So that kind of inclination to be willing to take a risk to solve a problem is another part that's really, really integral to who an entrepreneur is. And finally, I love this little piece at the end that they tagged on, that it was doing so in the hope of profit. And I really think that this kind of hope of profit, let's just drop off the of profit part, because we can talk about maybe it's financial profit, maybe it's the feel good profit, those releasing of endorphins if you're engaged in some sort of form of social entrepreneurship. But it's this idea of hope, that your idea is creative and innovative, that it's going to make some sort of improvement. I kind of akin profit to this idea of improvement. And these 3 things I think are really, really integral to thinking about what is an entrepreneur. But of course, then we move on to this idea of what is entrepreneurship. So surely we could just turn that in and say it's an activity that is, focused on operating a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risk in hope of that profit. But someone can be an entrepreneur regardless of the type of business that they're doing. And I really want to hone on this for just a moment, because when we think of entrepreneurship and many of the curricula that are out there, they think that to be an entrepreneur, you have to solve a problem with a product. Now, all of us just went through and we thought of products that we were using, because typically that's how you think of it, especially from a business plan of in hope of that profit. How are you going to make that? And we did think about that. Many of us identified apps that maybe you've downloaded, like the Park Mobile or Teams or Hopper. I think one of you said Hopper, or Netflix, right? These are all kind of app-based programs that you can download, and there is usually a fee associated with using them, but it's the process that you're really investing in. It's a tool to do something easier, or in this case of an actual product, whether it's your Bluetooth earbuds, your AirPods, your Kindle, whatever it might be, your cell phone. These are all tools that you have. So this idea of entrepreneurship could be any activity that is focused on action, regardless of the type of business. If it's a startup, or maybe it's a family business. One of our Inspire in a series that we did earlier on in our YE journey is that we had several entrepreneurs come and talk to young kids in a virtual setting. And some of them, it's a home business or a family business that they have grown from the ground up. And it might be a fully functioning business that has employees and all of that. But the start of that idea could be that family business. It could be corporate, it could be government. And oftentimes corporate entities will start new processes. It's any activity really that's focused on action or improvement. So this idea of entrepreneurship really is much bigger than just a typical small business or startup that we hear about in the news. In addition, I think that there's this idea that it's this willingness to venture into the unknown, because one never knows if an opportunity is really going to be lucrative or not, or if you're going to be able to make a living at it. And that's another piece of entrepreneurship, of that risk taking that we talked about. And so I really like this definition that came from Entrepreneurship Magazine, as opposed to Merriam-Webster, is this idea that's focused on action and a willingness to venture into the unknown. So I want to kind of reflect on some of what those kind of mindsets are that are inherent into entrepreneurship, and how do we build those into everyday programming. Some of the partners that we have developed over the years, one of them is Venture Lab, and they have these cool little sticker sets that are really kind of hone in on like these different skill sets that you can develop if you're using a YE curricula. And part of that I really want to focus on are these four that pop out. And this first one of collaborative communication is the ability to clearly express ideas to an intended audience, and including persuading them to work towards a common goal. Now, that's embedded in this entrepreneurship idea in many of the curriculums. You'll see this kind of in all of them. But that's also a skill set that can be used in just everyday life. It's a skill set that can be used in a career, whether you're the boss or the brand new employee. Being able to work in collaboration with others toward a common goal. This second one, divergent thinking, is the capacity to apply higher level process-oriented thinking. You're able to consider an issue from a range of possible perspectives and use that reasoning to make decisions. And I think that this is really, really crucial, especially with today's youth. Because so much over the last 20 years has become automated. I mean, one of you mentioned ChatGPT as a tool that you're using. It kind of does the thinking for you. And as we start to think, even like how AI influences our job careers and our job markets in the future, are our young people skipping the development of divergent thinking? Are they skipping the ability to be process oriented, where they see a problem and then they brainstorm and they use creativity and innovation to figure out a solution? Or are they always going to turn to the easy way out? I will say that mentioning ChatGPT, I'm a fan. I like it. It certainly helps improve efficiencies. But what goes into ChatGPT was developed by real thinkers. And so if you've ever asked a question to ChatGPT and it gave you kind of an odd answer, or maybe you asked it to review a book that was only written in the last 2 years, it can't do it because it's only utilizing the resources that are available within a huge database of information. It's only using what's available to it. And that had to be programmed into it. It had to be added into it by real thinkers. So as we start to kind of explore what jobs of the future look like, we have to make sure that our youth today have this skill, have this ability to think divergently. Another one is adaptability. So this is the ability and willingness to change actions and plans to overcome present and future challenges. This is flexibility. How are you able to be in today's moment or see a crisis, or maybe you're working on a business plan and then something happens and you have to shift. One of our other trainers, she has a line that says like shift happens. And like, how are you, like, it's embracing the shift because it happens in all of our lives. I love that Liz was traveling, but she wanted to be here today. And so she shifted, right? She found a stop. She was able to kind of pull over so that she could be on here and participate. And thank goodness for Zoom, another thing that was created, right, in the last 20 years. She's able to join and actually come on camera with us because shift does happen. And she was able to be flexible. And that final one, I can't stress it enough, that this is definitely a common theme this morning or this afternoon, is comfort with risk. So this is the capacity to move forward with a decision despite not knowing how it's going to turn out. Despite the inevitable challenges that you know that you're going to face. A lot of people can get stuck and not move forward without absolute certainty. But this entrepreneurial mindset tells you to embrace that uncertainty and take that step anyways. And I think that naturally young people, through curiosity and the ability to embrace failure, know how to kind of fall down and get back up again. As young children, this is our entire world. And then something happens when we get sent to school and we're in the classroom every day and we're told, do this, do this, do this. and maybe you don't push outside the boundaries. So if you have a student in one of your classes who maybe is a little mouthy, right? We know those, we sometimes call them bossy, or they talk too much. They might just be really embracing opportunity seeking, or wanting to kind of like have this growth opportunity. They're just curious. And instead of forcing young minds to stay within a cookie cutter approach, we should be giving them opportunities to venture outside of that and reward them. And what better place to do that than in an after school or a summer program setting? So why youth entrepreneurship? And this is where I really want to stress why we're doing this, why we have national funding and partners like the Youth Entrepreneur Institute, or Young Entrepreneur Institute with Liz, why they're investing in this space. And this is because years of research have gone in to show that youth entrepreneurship and this entrepreneurial mindset is valued by employers after graduation. Entrepreneurial skills are 100% paired with 21st century learning skills for workforce readiness. And in today's innovation economy, we're going to see this needed more and more and more, not only in workplace and career readiness, but also in college readiness and college success plans, because even that college experience needs these skill sets. An entrepreneurial mindset also boosts educational attainment and performance. So typical research on after school shows that anybody who's participating in after school tend to have better attendance at during the school day. But what we have also shown is that entrepreneurial skills help students engage and succeed in school in their regular academic careers, because we're opening their mind to think differently outside of the classroom. They then bring those skills into the standard day classroom, and that they are performing on average better than the counterparts who are not receiving YE opportunities. And finally, it's vital for economic growth. I started by saying that the jobs of tomorrow don't exist today. And an entrepreneurial mindset is crucial for how do we create these new businesses, the new products, the new processes, which are going to trigger a wave of benefits, including job creation, market efficiencies, all of that. And helping young people develop that mindset to successfully start and run businesses is going to be vital for our country's economic growth, and dare I say the world. So, as we consider what can Florida After School do for you, we have several program partners, different curricula partners that we can pair you with. We take a lot of the guesswork out of all the resources out there, so that you're not just plugging into ChatGPT or Google, hey, what youth entrepreneurship curriculum is best for me? We know that there are a ton of resources, and Liz will be the first to tell you that the YEI website, you can actually go in on their site and choose, okay, I'm serving K through 3, and I'm looking for this type of program, and you can hit submit, and it'll give you a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I will tell you though, it's a whole bunch of stuff. So what our team has done is actually tested all of these curricula to, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure where it's coming from. So we've gone in and we've actually kind of tested these different curricula opportunities. We know which ones are free. We know which ones cost a lot of money. We know which ones are great for high school kids. We know which ones are great for elementary kids. So we have all of these resources and can help guide you through making choices around youth entrepreneurship. And if you're looking for the free stuff, if you have a little bit of budget, if you are looking for someone to come in and deliver curricula to you so that it's almost like you can take a step back and let it happen. If you want your team to be trained in a particular curricula, what does that look like? And all of these sources are a little bit different. Also, if say you have students and you have a computer lab and they want to learn asynchronously. Some of the programs that are here will help young people on their own. Maybe you can introduce youth entrepreneurship, and then they can go home and they can work on it on their own and work through materials. All of them are a little bit different. So hopefully my mouse, is my mouse showing? Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to walk through a couple of our partners. Waggy Labs is the dog biting the light bulb of ideas. Waggy Labs. They are really, really great for young entrepreneurs, definitely in the elementary age, and a lot of their resources are free. We did a book study with one of the individuals from Waggy Lab, and it was a great experience to really help educators of young kids embrace some of these ideas, and there's lots of free resources. This one here, the rocket ship kind of venturing out into space, is Venture Lab. That's one of our regular partners. Great free stuff. In fact, for joining us today, you'll actually receive a download of one of their workbook activities. It has 60 different activities that you can do with young kids. Again, a lot of their content is focused in the earlier side of the spectrum, so a lot of elementary age programs. However, really good for some middle school stuff as well. This past summer, I was able to use a lot of their free activities with a mixed group of students. So say your program, maybe you're a small after school program or your summer program, and you have a wide range of students. They also offer lots of activities that you can kind of play down so that they're a little bit more simpler for the younger students, or they have ways that you can make them more complex if your students are older. So a very flexible curriculum. Again, really focused on building mindset and ideas and kind of that idea curation, career exploration, things like that. Lemonade Day is another partner. Perhaps you've heard a little of National Lemonade Day, where a whole bunch of people will go set up lemonade stands all around their communities. Lemonade Day is a great way for students to learn how a very basic business concept and idea of setting up a lemonade stand teaches you entrepreneurship skills. And that's what's wonderful about their curriculum, is that they give something very tangible as opposed to being so cerebral and focused on mindset. They give you a tangible task of making a lemonade stand and going through all of the business plan and the marketing and the logo creation and finding partners of where you're going to host it and how are you going to build it. And that the using of that plan to develop a very specific business really helps teach the technical skills and then the mindset skills that accompany that are embedded into the curriculum. Kidpreneur, this is our Kidspreneur. It's this one here. If you've never seen the wing I call it the wing of grit, because it's the idea of taking some of those mindset concepts as well as little concepts like a lemonade stand and infusing it. Kidspreneur, a lot of their curricula is free as well. They do have some paid curricula. So if you have a little bit of budget and you want to access some of the worksheets and all of that, it's a wonderful tool. And again, it culminates in this idea of creating like a marketplace. One of their strategies is everyone can come up with their own concept, but then you end up with a marketplace where in essence, everyone is setting up their lemonade stand, but it's not selling lemonade. We've seen some very excellent implementation of Kidspreneur across the state of Florida, and what the kids are coming up with is really fantastic. Some of them, they're learning to sell their art. Others are creating magnets. That was some of the ones that we found. One of our programs partnered up with a local 4-H program, and they were actually growing and then selling succulents at their marketplace. So really great tools that you can develop with them. This one here, maybe many of you have heard of, is called Junior Achievement. I'm guessing that Junior Achievement is something, I see a couple of heads nodding, that you probably have in your community. Now, Junior Achievement has an amazing infrastructure across the nation and indeed the state of Florida, where they have like regional supports. Junior Achievement looks different in different places, but is really kind of founded for your upper middle school and high school kids, and has principles where you're really starting to infuse financial literacy. It's around middle school and definitely within the high school programs that you're going to see a lot of discussion around how do you build financial literacy. That doesn't mean that you can't start financial literacy earlier, but it's definitely more prevalent in the curriculums that are designed for our older students. And what's a great kind of benefit of that is that many local banks and local credit unions say you want to invest in a little bit more of an advanced curricula instead of cobbling together all of the free resources, but you need a partner to fund that. Maybe your school district, or maybe you have a local trust. I heard, right, that we have someone from the Alachua Children's Trust here today. Maybe you have resources that you can bring in a very specific curricula, research-based curricula. And if you do, fantastic. But that component of financial literacy is a great way to find additional resources and support from, like I said, banks or credit unions. I mentioned that because junior achievement has a great financial literacy component. And when the state of Florida decided to add financial literacy as a requirement now for graduation, Junior Achievement has responded, almost one of the fastest organizations to respond to that need, and is providing resources across the state of Florida to help in school as well as after school programs bridge financial literacy. And again, it looks different in each of your communities. So if you're interested in Junior Achievement, definitely you can go to their website and put in your zip code, and then it'll connect you with the local resources to your community. But they do, thanks to COVID, developed a fully online curricula as well that is incredibly affordable either for your site or for your students. This is where we start to get into that kind of asynchronous learning, is you can introduce concepts in your after school setting and then allow your more mature middle schoolers and high schoolers to kind of take it home with them to do more work. Now, I know the idea of giving students homework from after school might not seem appealing, but again, those mindsets and how you introduce it can really, really shift their way of thinking, especially if there's a promise that they can start their own business. Which brings us to Startup SmartUp. This one is an almost fully online curriculum. Startup SmartUp does have 2 tracks. They have something called Project Pioneer, which is really classroom-based or after-school program-based programming where kids work together. That is for your more elementary age or younger kids to do projects together. That's gonna be very similar to Venture Lab and Waggy Labs in terms of the skills that it is instilling in each of the young participants. But it culminates in something. Maybe it's we're going to put together a classroom cookbook, or we're going to host a fair, but it's all student-led and student-operated. So if you have a young group, or maybe you have like your PTO or PTA, if you have an S that you throw in there, so it becomes a PTSO or a PTSA, and the students want to use a curriculum so it's owned and operated by them, or maybe a youth council, they have really, really great methodologies that will teach the students and kind of keep them on track to learn that. Their second track is called Launchpad, and Launchpad is very similar to thinking of Lemonade Day, except it gives a whole bunch of options. The great thing about their process is that it's completely based in research. They pair all of their information to the learning standards that exist at the federal level and are working on a state-by-state curriculum pairing. And your membership with Startup SmartUp actually gets you into a data collection process so that you can do pre and post so that you can show potential funders that your programming really does make a difference. But the students get to choose what business they want to start. This is really great for your more mature middle schoolers and definitely your high school kids. And really, honestly, some of even our younger college students are starting to use Startup SmartUp. They're developing plans one of the students developed a dog walking business, something you could absolutely do tomorrow. We've seen others that have developed social media companies and things that they could go through the curriculum and then have an actual operating company at the conclusion of their participation in Project Launchpad. So it's a great one. It is a little bit more on the expensive side. I mean, in terms of it, the curriculum is not free, but students do then emerge with that that bona fide business plan that they could go immediately start working with it. So if that's something of interest to your students, it's a great one. Got 2 more to go, and then we'll wrap it up. Nifty is the network for teaching entrepreneurship. This is one of the most well-researched curriculums that are out there, 100% steeped in research and information and how it delivers curriculum. And it's definitely around that mindset. How do you foster innovation? How do you measure your risk aversion? How do you come up with solutions, whether it's a social entrepreneurship or an actual product base? And they are really built on this idea of pitch competitions. Nifty was the curricula that we selected to pilot in Jacksonville. And that we have seen up and down, especially up and down the east coast of Florida, from Jacksonville all the way down to Miami. Several of our university partners in South Florida have partnered up with Nifty, and they are doing, I will say, like micro pitches within schools and then regional pitches within their community that then take on to statewide pitch competitions that eventually lead up to regional and then national. It was really exciting for our pilot in Jacksonville that one of the student-led ideas, it was called Bougie Bags. It was a really great concept. A little on the social entrepreneurship side, but they were able to do their pitch competition. And because of the Nifty infrastructure, it garnered a lot of attention from the local business community. They're really excellent at engaging chambers of commerce to participate and fund their pitch competitions from local microcosm level all the way to the nationals. And our team from Jacksonville actually was invited then to participate in the regional. They won that too and got to go all the way to nationals, where they received an honorable mention. So a really great curriculum. It is also one of the ones that do require financial investment, but both Startup SmartUp and Nifty and 220 Leadership, which I'll get to, or Leadership 220, is they do require some investment, but all of them do offer some kind of free trials if you would like to explore their curriculum as well. Which brings me to 220, and they are originally based out of Chicago. This is definitely for your high school kids and even into college kids, if you have some of those out of school kids that are participating in any of your programs, that can help develop that mindset and really do the business coaching and the leadership development that you might need as you grow from this idea of just having a lemonade stand or a dog walking business to a full-fledged business, and really focuses then on the leadership development skills that a CEO would need to sustain a business. And these are just 8 of the programs that are out there. And when I tell you that we have dove into each of these, we absolutely have. If you go onto the YEI website, there's closer to something like 300. So part of what, right? I saw that, like the talk about drinking from a water hose, and you don't really know which way to start or where to go. And that's where you can really let us help you and be a resource. If everything that we've just kind of talked about is, yes, I want to do YE and our programming, I want kids to develop this mindset, I want them to be better prepared for high school, or better prepared for college or the workforce, or whatever their post-secondary journey is, please help us kind of cut through the noise. And that's really why Florida After School is here. We can provide you with resources, training, support, technical assistance. If you want to host your own pitch contest, we can help you develop that. And again, that access to curricula. The great thing about partnering with us, especially with the partners that we've described, is that if you do have the financial means to want to purchase one of those licenses for one of the more expensive ones, if you work through us, we can get you a discount. And so that's one of the great things about not just going it on your own, partner with us so that we can leverage that. Which brings me to this idea of a professional learning community. Not only do we want to tell you about resources and to bring professionals in and have them kind of pitch to you, we want to meet you where you're at, and we want to hear what you're doing. So starting in the new year, we will be developing or further developing our youth entrepreneurship professional learning community, where we will meet monthly and ask you to tell us what you're doing so that we can get a better idea of your needs. And kind of in adopting into that. We will keep the cohort manageable, but if you're going to participate in the professional learning community, we do ask that you commit to coming to the monthly meetings. And what that means by participating in this, not only will you get to kind of share your expertise and have access to others around the state, you're going to be our first choice for curriculum pilot. So when we did the project that I described in Jacksonville, those schools did not pay a penny. We covered all of the expenses. So by participating and joining us, you're going to be the first choice for those types of pilots. And we have several planned for the new year. We'll also ask that you test assessment tools and surveys, because we recognize that there's not a lot of assessment tools out there that are fully bona fide beyond what NIFTY has tested, but that was with their curriculum. Can we take, I'll say like some of the free or very, very low cost curriculum, use that same assessment tool and still see gains in terms of business understanding, confidence building, that kind of those mindset concepts. We have some tools available, but do they apply even to different curricula or different methods of teaching youth entrepreneurship mindset? And then the other one that I left purposely at the end is possible funding opportunities. Right, like we understand that many programs, you're already doing so much, so how can we add any more to your plate? Well, if we were able to provide a little bit of funding to help bring in that curricula, or provide a training or a coaching session at no cost to you, or even to be able to give incentives for a pitch competition. So say that you want to host one and then you want to be able to give cash prizes to your winners. These are things that we can help with if, in fact, you are part of our professional learning community. So I am going to stop there. Because we want to know, like, what do you think? Are you interested in this? Do you want to be a part of this? We're really excited to have you be part of this. So any questions? Any reactions or responses? Are you interested? See like a couple of heads nodding. I know that there were some questions that I think got popped in. Okay, I'm just going to scroll through those really quick. Yeah. Yes, ChatGPT is a tool, not a replacement. Agreed. So for everyone who is on today, you will get a copy of today's slides as well as links to each of those resources that we described. Many of them are available on our website. I do want to just ask you to grab those cell phones that were almost around 20 years ago, right? I think it was 1986, I think was the first cell phone, but they certainly didn't look like this. They certainly weren't mini computers. And it was almost 20 years ago that Facebook launched. That was in 2005. And Facebook definitely social media definitely revolutionized the way that we use these things. So we would encourage you to just kind of scan this and give us feedback about today, but also stay on the lookout. Oops, sorry. I'll pull that back up if you didn't quite grab it. Stay on the lookout for these opportunities. We will be doing an invitation to each of you to join that professional learning community that will launch in January. And that is our goal, is to connect you with all of these types of training opportunities, the curriculum pilots, the assessment pilots, as well as funding. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, thank you guys for being here. You'll get a link to today and look forward to working with you in the new year. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.